join you as well. I was just watching the last presentation.
Yes, it was great, wasn't it? I loved it.
Agitated now.
Well, I'm very excited to talk to you more about your topic. So you're pretty young, actually. You're only 22. You're a 22-year-old entrepreneur.
Yeah, I am.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm a recent graduate with Bachelor of Commerce in Computer Applications. I did my bachelor's in India and came back home a bit, and then India is the one which gathered up the entrepreneurship part of me. It is a lot of innovators, and it's a huge market, you know. So you get yourself to say, okay, why can't I do this if everybody seems to be able to do it? Mm-hmm. So, and then I came back home. I did start my company, but I thought, you know, I'm still too young. I might as well want to see how bosses do it. Awesome like this, and then maybe I can boss it with somebody else.
So tell everyone where home is.
Pardon me?
I said tell everyone where home is. You're in Zimbabwe, right?
Yes, Zimbabwe, Harare, the capital.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love this. So we're getting global.
Yeah, I didn't know you guys.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out there.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you there?
Yes.
There you go. Okay.
All right.
So tell us about this adventure that you're coming on, the Affordable Virtual Learning Society.
Okay. AVL Society. So I grew up in a community where education, especially for girls in the rural areas, high school, otherwise you get married or you know, something like that. And after I came back from it and change it, or rather make it better. So that made me into going to AVL Society. So we basically help these girls attain tertiary training, or even the guys as well, tertiary training through online platforms. These now edX, these Allison courses. So the whole point is that they don't have access to universities, or they don't have the money to attend, but edX is free, Allison is free. Those organizations, a lot of universities also have MOOCs, so they can sit in front of a laptop. You just need to do what we're doing right now, connect them to a certain platform, teach them how to use the computer, and the next thing they know how to speak English. They know how to do this and that. So that's basically what AVL Society is about.
Wow, that sounds awesome. That's really helping your direct community. Oh.
Yeah.
We can hear you fine. Can you hear fine?
It's okay. It's a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little choppy there for a minute. You were cutting in and out, but I think you're fine now.
Oh, okay. That's great.
So you're going to talk to us about social media bias. Is it our fault or theirs? So I will hand you over the floor to go ahead and enlighten us. Is it our fault or is it theirs?
Okay. I'll probably share PPT.
Yeah, go right ahead.
So share your screen. Click on the button that says share screen.
Do you see the share your screen button?
Yeah. I think I found it.
So if you click on that, and it should pull up your PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Do you have your PowerPoint open?
Is it already opening up on your, okay. Yeah.
There you go. There we go. Just put in presentation mode.
Yeah, it is now. So I'll just do slideshow. Okay. Yes.
Love that
So,
graphic.
well, I saw your picture.
No, you're supposed
I had it in my
to.
marketing materials.
Yes, it is definitely meant for sharing. That's why we sent it to everybody. Thank you for using
Yeah.
it.
So, well, I'm going to talk about social media bias. I think there's been a lot of going on about social media platforms, how they use information, and it also affects businesses because it has an effect on the authenticity of certain businesses or how they uh, operate. So, if I don't trust that Facebook is gonna be able to handle my users, I probably won't trust as well using the platform, which actually defies the whole purpose of using social media. So I'm going to talk about bias because most people, I think, confuse the platform, the users, and also, the business side of social media. And we end up confusing whether we should be using social media to get information or not. So, like, when I hear social media, I mean, like, I have to ask if you mean social or you mean social, because there's kind of difference right now because sometimes we're on social media, but we ain't social. So there's now a whole lot of different aspect to it. You can be on social media, have 1,000 friends, but don't have 1,000 friends. So it's just like that right now. So sometimes we gotta know what social media is. It's just a platform that if you're gonna have a drink with your friends, it's a platform that's gonna help you, be accessible elsewhere or anywhere else, and do almost the same thing. Of course, we might not be able to have drinks over the phone, but that kind of talk that you're gonna have over the drinks, I can have it over on Facebook. But then so sometimes we don't have an idea of what we're talking about if we mean social media. It has something to do with the society, it has something to do with the people around you. And if we don't understand what social media is all about, then it's just a pathway, or it's just a media, a platform that connects us all together in one place, or just like how you go to church. But in this case, you are doing it on social media. Now people nowadays, I have friends who say, oh, I was on social media, I was at church. So, they get everything there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody going out or anything. They're just trying to globalize the world. Like right now, you're talking to a whole lot of people, but it's social media anyway. Yeah. So I think we confuse that a whole lot, and that confuses our users. If I'm a business person and I want to use social media and I don't get or understand what social media is or what it can do to my business, then there are three things that I'm going to do. I'm going to misuse it. I'm going to lie to my customers. I'm going to, do a whole lot of things wrong. And then social media is like, okay, it's not a go-to because it didn't work out for me. It works out for other people. It means they are doing it right. They have something they're doing it right. So I'm not an expert in using social media. I did digital marketing and it had social media in it. And of course, from that, I learned a few things. I also tried using it. In fact, I use it, but then not as much probably. But that's when I noticed that people tend to confuse and tend to take social media lightly and sometimes use it. And that gives a biased whole view of social media. So bias is like a major turn-off when it comes to social media. I mean, it's business matter. It's a personal scar. If you ever get bias on social media and people get you wrong, you're probably never gonna go back there. I don't know. I've heard of people who, after having a whole lot of bias on social media, things turned out bad and the businesses went bad, and then it was like a personal scar on maybe your entrepreneurial mind and all that. So it's frustrating. It gets you to a point where you don't know exactly what you should be doing on social media, and you feel that it's not the right platform for a business. I think social media is a platform for any business, because it accommodates a whole lot of different people with different likes, with different personalities, and you get an audience easily. So, but it turns out to be a major turn-off if there's bias in the social media. And bias, I mean wrong information. A lot of whole things can be biased. Wrong information, especially if we're talking on the business side, people might actually post something that's not there, or they might give business reviews that are not there, and everything becomes biased. And even on the user side, I might be a customer and I just hate that brand. I've never even used it, but I just hate the brand, or I hate the user, or I hate the owner. And then I go ahead and, create dislikes and wrong reviews and all that. And everything about that platform becomes biased. Now, that doesn't help the new user who's coming on social media because they want to get information, because I'm going to have a biased look again at that same thing. So that's a business murder, because if I was going to get 10 more customers just because there's bias on social media, I'm going to lose 10 more customers. That's how it works. So it's a thing that needs to be corrected.
So are you saying like someone comes on and leaves a bunch of bad reviews for a business, and now that business is kind of biased, or that person that comes to see that business is their viewpoint is a little skewed because of what they're seeing from other people. So they're not giving the business a fair chance. So I'm sure you're about to show this, and I'll let you keep on continuing. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you meant by that.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So what do we do with that? We take a breath. You know what happens when you have social bias? I've seen people who had, that was personal scars, where somebody goes into their profiles and does this or that, and then they end up, having biased outlook from the rest of the society that they did that. Oh my God. And they even didn't do it. So we breathe a bit. Who's responsible? What happened? How do we end up with a bias? Is it my fault? Should I just get away with social media? It's okay. Give yourself a break. It's the same mistakes that you would have made when you were directly marketing it to somebody, or directly using a direct marketing tool to the users. You could have done the exact same mistake that you did on social media. People could have done the same exact things. They could have given bad reviews mouth to mouth. I think I'll believe mouth to mouth more than I would believe social media. You telling me that somebody's bad, personally, that gives me the whole impression. But if you're writing on social media, I might doubt. So I think social media might actually be better here. If we're talking about people hating you, competition, and people scarring your business, then social media doesn't come on top of that. Because if I hate your business so bad, I'll go and stand in front of your shop and start telling everybody, don't go in there. It's that bad, So that's even worse than me coming on social media and trying to scar you. So I think both the business and the users need to take a breath. When they're using social media, especially for business purposes, we need to breathe, and take our time. It's not only social media that businesses have. Most businesses I have seen that use social media also have websites. They're contactable. Sometimes we just need to talk to the right people to get the right information. Social media is a way of getting out the word, but if you're looking at authenticity, if you're looking at fully fledged information, if you're looking at well-researched information, there are a whole lot of ways to do it after you've seen it on social media. So before I pass a judgment, before I frustrate myself that social media is I'm done with it, it has gone AWOL, I won't ever use it, I think we need to give ourselves a break, do the right research, talk to the proper people, talk to the right people, and then you end up finding out that sometimes it wasn't that bad after all. It was just you being biased and you not being able to do the right research and talking to the right people. Because I would say if I find something on social media being sold, I would want to talk to the person who's selling it. I would want to hear them say, okay, that's perfect. Yeah, it was marketing too because it got to me through social media. That's perfect. But what I'm going to do with the information that I get on social media erases the whole bias thing. So we don't usually do that. I get it on social media. The next thing I'm spreading it to the next person and they don't get the whole idea and they interpret it in another way. The next person, the same thing. And at the end of the day, we're all biased. From the
like,
person who read it the first time, yeah.
It's like playing that that game Telephone. You start the message and then somebody else passes the message and it's something else, and then by the time the original message gets to the last person, it wasn't even the same as what it was.
Yeah, they're like,
I think
didn't
social
say
media
that.
can be worse. I think social media can be worse sometimes because that review stays up there. If somebody wants to say something bad about a business, they'll go online, they'll go on their Facebook page, they'll post a bad review about them, and then that review can't be removed. That review stays there. And so
Yeah.
you're saying to go that one step further and look past the reviews and try to make your own experiences versus allowing that to bias you towards at least experiencing something.
Yeah, because you might miss out just because something has a bad review. You end up not taking the chances you could have taken just because it has a bad review. And you could have asked the right people and you could have gotten the all good information. So I don't think, if we talk about responsibility, it's our responsibility to do the research, the questioning, and the ethical judgment of whatever you're seeing there. So you know what you want, you know what ethical means to you, or what is ethic to you. We all have different perspectives on that. So if you do the right research, if you do the right questioning, because sometimes we ask the wrong questions. If you see something, you don't ask why, you ask what. We usually have to ask, why would they put something like that on social media? I think you should ask, what is it all about? And then you do the judgment. So we sometimes ask the wrong questions, and probably the right things. We question the right things, but the wrong questions, and we end up getting the wrong information. So sometimes we have to do the proper research and we have to do the questioning, and then we give our ethical judgment. And sometimes it's leave it or take it. I don't think it's worth it that you've seen something, you haven't experienced it, and you've made your ethical judgment to say, okay, I don't like this. And then you go ahead and review. What are you reviewing? You didn't even use it, for crying out loud, So sometimes, you don't have to just be happy marring everybody else because you don't think it's worth it. Sometimes it's better to keep quiet, leave it to the next person who is going to make their own judgment. Because if you look at it, out of all the users that are using, there are hundreds who are using it, and probably you are the one who doesn't like it, and maybe 20 more other people who don't like it. So leave it for the 100 people to enjoy what they're enjoying, and keep your mouth shut. Sometimes it's not worth it, especially if you haven't used something or you haven't actually experienced it, and after you're doing your research, you judge that, okay, this is not perfect. I don't think it's worth you reviewing or worth you going on to give a comment on something that you haven't actually experienced yourself. So that it all combines into bias. If I do things that if I review on things that I haven't experienced, if I lie about things that I haven't done, it all goes to bias. Even in our personal life, that's what happens. One lie adds to another, because people are going to ask you, so when you used it, what happened? And then I'm going to add another lie or something that never happened, because I'm trying to protect what I said in the first place. So it goes on to you're a bigger lie, and that's the whole thing of bias. So what does bias affect? It affects almost everyone. I mean, business, customers, individuals, like everyone. Anyone who uses social media, gets on social media, and sometimes even it goes into personal, because people don't end on social media. They also go on to talk about it in their daily lives, on the dinner table, on my phone call. I end up mentioning, you know what, I saw this on social media. So the word spreads so fast, and it affects almost everyone. Like it's a business matter, it may be individual matter, because sometimes I'm marketing myself for what I do. Probably I'm a public speaker, and it might not be a business, it might be something I enjoy doing, and it gets into my personal life, because people ended up giving bias or putting bias information on and off the media. So who do we blame? That's like a major thing when it comes to something went wrong. it's we want to find out who can we blame. Do we blame the creators of social media platforms? Do we blame the users who've been giving false reviews? Do you blame the society because they're not protecting us away from social media or something? But I think, or simply no one. I think no one is to blame. If everyone is affected, then we can blame no one, because if I'm affected, you're affected, then we both are not to blame. We just probably misused the right information, or didn't take the right information into the right hands, or didn't use the information that we're given correctly. So it comes to no one being blamed for social media bias, but we also still have to take responsibility to say, sometimes it's not worth giving the bias. We're now trying to make it a global village, but if it's a global village based on bias, then we can call it a village, we can call it a global society or global whatever with individualism, and that doesn't work well in business. Individualism doesn't work. We want to work together, because the business also wants another business, and we all use each other inside the business cycle, and it goes on and on. So if I start pointing fingers and blaming, oh my God, I'll have 1,000 people to blame for that. So I think no one is responsible for the bias. We all responsible for how we use information when we get it. It's just like any other factor. You don't blame you don't blame the telephone provider for you talking about something on the phone and then somebody passing it around. I don't blame the telephone provider. He provided the platform, and we talked. I don't blame my friend as well, because I decided to tell them. So why would I blame them? It was my decision. So at the end of the day, you come back not to you, but to just that happens. If everyone is affected, then no one is to blame. We all had a part. We all play a role in using social media effectively. And then that was almost everything I had on social bias. And if we're talking about social media bias, it's something that doesn't come lightly, especially for talking about business, because I've seen it, Facebook page. I didn't know who to invite. And I think I made it, and I spent about 2 months without inviting anybody, because I thought, okay, what are people going to think? Well, I'm not that active on Facebook, but I made a Facebook page, and then I just start, spamming everybody and sending them invites and like my page, and all that. So you have all those questions of, oh my God, but then you realize, well, I'm going to invite you. You choose to accept or ignore, which is okay with me. It works fine with me, because if I didn't invite you, you're probably never going to come anyway. So if I invite you and you come over, that's perfect. And now I think social media is now taking a step further in avoiding social bias, in avoiding the social media bias, because you see that they've put some things like you control who posts on your Facebook page, and you control who views, and you control so it's now becoming way better. At the end of the day, we have all the securities that we may need on taking social bias to a next level and totally ruling it out. So I think even the social media platforms or the social media creators, they've noticed the bias problem, and that's why they keep on putting security measures to just make sure that people don't get the wrong information, and we end up using information in the right way. So I don't know if you have any questions, or I'll just remove my
I have one for you. So how can a business owner, because you mentioned, so how can a business owner make sure that the content that they're putting out there is accurate and unbiased? Because everybody has their opinion, right? Like you're saying, like, don't be a troll, like give your actual opinion of what if you experience that place, what it really is. So what advice would you give to a business owner for like managing that stuff that's happening to them?
Okay, I think sometimes, I don't know, but if I had the money to do it, if somebody posted a wrong review on my platform,
Mhm.
I would take it as if maybe they wanted to experience it and they don't either afford it or they couldn't just come to it. So I'll give you a freebie for the records. But then my advice to the business owner is that sometimes, talking to people lightly. I've gone on Facebook pages where people posted the wrong information on a certain business or something like that, and then the business owner freaks out and be like, "You never use my product," and all that. What you talking about? But sometimes I think just going lightly and saying, "I'm not sure when you bought my product, but if you did, can we talk about it? And probably, can you give me information of what your experience was?" And that gives it, if I'm reading that Facebook page, to me that works out well. Doesn't matter what the experience was, but I'm gonna still go and try it, because I think the business owner is that cautious to know that sometimes they're gonna be bad reviews, and he's cautious enough or she's cautious enough to handle it in a subtle way, which makes everybody get satisfied. If somebody answered you like that and you see that comment, I'm still gonna try, because I feel that they're gonna take responsibility if something goes wrong. That shows responsibility. So that's what I was talking about when I said responsibility. It goes on to that. If you've done your proper research on how people react on social media and businesses, you would know that those things are going to happen. And the way you handle it has the effect, because social media is all about what the viewers are going to say or what people are going to think. And that it's just trying to get into the head of another person. So the best way is also trying to get into the other head of the other person in a better way. I'm not going to go on. If I had a bad review to write, I would write it first to the owner. If they don't take action, then I'll put it on their Facebook page. Why do I want to kill a business of another person? That's, because you have direct contact to the seller most of the times. So you could directly contact them. If they don't take action, then I go on to the extreme measures of maybe posting it on their Facebook review or something like that.
Mhm.
But the way you respond, or the way a business responds, it gives a whole lot of other view to the rest of the customers.
Gotcha. I have another question for you here. It's in Zimbabwe, what are the popular prevalent social networks? So is one social network more popular than another? Or do you use one more than another?
Yeah, I think if you call WhatsApp a social network, WhatsApp is the most popular one.
WhatsApp? Okay.
Anyway, I think people use, yeah, WhatsApp is like, everybody has WhatsApp. And then there's also Facebook. Facebook tends to gauge on the younger people than the older people. And Instagram, way younger people. You barely see older people there, and probably a few celebrities and all that. And I think YouTube is the least used I've seen here in Zimbabwe.
Really?
And
Wow.
because compared to other countries, most companies don't own YouTube accounts and all that, which is a business opportunity to somebody who does YouTubing and all that. So yeah. So most companies don't use YouTube. Individuals do sometimes, but I've noticed that on my research, it's barely used. Same thing with platforms like LinkedIn. I would say that Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, according to age groups, because I'm sure right now where I'm sitting at home, 60, 50 years old. So it talks about the Easterns or people, how they use social media here. It's almost age-wise. And probably it also has something to do with affordability, because you may need data to get into it. For Facebook, they've made packages. For WhatsApp, they've made packages on our telecommunications providers. So now people go more for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and WhatsApp because they have packages. So I'm gonna buy data to go to just waste on YouTube. So a YouTuber wouldn't gonna do that. Nobody's gonna buy data to go on YouTube, neither browse on LinkedIn, because there are no packages for LinkedIn. So something like that. I think it has effects on all that the affordability, and then the age group, and then also people being informed that it works.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to know. It's good to know like what's around in your area and what people use the most, because sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out. Like it's very much by age group, I can tell you. Like my niece is using Snapchat, and I can't get into it. Like I can't do it.
I know.
I've tried. I can't do it.
It just doesn't suit you. You don't know what else to do on Snapchat, right?
Exactly. I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Maureen, I've got a question for you. We see kind of a tendency here, especially on Facebook, with all the things going on politically here with Trump, people that enjoy Trump, people that hate Trump, people that don't care. Do you see that happening also where you're at, with people being really negative on the social media aspect of just kind of having a bitch session about things, or people piling on or being very, down the line? Oh, you don't agree with me, so I'm going to unfriend you, or I'm going to bash you because you have a difference of opinion. How is the environment, the arena for that? Do you see that happening where you guys are at there in social media with WhatsApp and other things?
I think so. Because I sometimes you sometimes block somebody who got your number on WhatsApp and they're not saying exactly what they want to talk about or why they're contacting you, and you end up blocking them, or because they post of something that you don't like. It is happening actually, but probably not to the greater extent that we would expect it to. But I think that can be rectified at some point, because if I did accept a friend request from somebody in the first place, it means I don't know how people accept friend requests, but I'm a little critical. I have to go through your profile first and see why I should hang out with you. I don't want to have 1,000 friends of people I don't know why I'm hanging out with. So I think it goes also with people who just, go and click the accept button, and then end up seeing that the views of these people don't. And I think it's gonna have a more effect, especially on the young people, because now most young people, if you notice, they use social media to express views and to say things, and and I think that's gonna take I don't know, until people address the issue of accepting the society as it is. Sometimes you don't have to agree with somebody to disagree. You just have to let it go. If I don't agree with you, I'm just going to say, okay, I don't agree with this, and let it go. But people tend to take everything personally. We all have different opinions on different things. So even your friends have different opinions. So I think it's going to have quite an impact. And it might actually shoot out, like you're saying, that once I see that you like this guy and I don't like them, I'm going to unfriend you, or you post about this and I don't like it, I'm going to unfriend you. It still happens at the moment, and I think it's going to take a huge turnout. People are going to resort to that even more with time, especially the young people, because now it's all social. I don't talk to my parents much because I'm always on my phone. I'm always doing that, talking to people I have never met, I don't know, and all that, trying to impress everybody else on social media. So that's going to be the platform I'm going to try and express everything, my views. Long back, as I noticed, when my mom tells me, she says, long back, when you wanted to express political views, it would be in the sitting room watching TV or the news, and then you're like, no, this guy shouldn't be doing that and all that. And it ends up home. So you don't have to go anywhere else. You've already expressed your opinion. But now social media for young people has become the place to, put out all your views and all that. And that will have an effect on how people relate to each other or accept other people's opinions.
Good answer. I like that. That's good stuff. Are you seeing, we just have they just diagnosed people having a social media disorder. Did you hear about this?
Oh, come on.
Seriously, here in the United States, you have a social media disorder of not being able to.
I think I need that diagnosis too. Should I book an appointment or something?
Hate to see the medication.
I think I need that too.
I think they're just making it up.
Right. So you guys don't use a lot of YouTube. Where do you see most businesses? What platform, and what are some of the things that they're doing to help attract clients in Zimbabwe?
Facebook is a bit okay. In fact, I think okay. I do have some kind of comparison because I've been to India where social media is like a major marketing tool, and then I came to Zimbabwe, and comparing those two, especially the average, because even on Facebook they don't use Facebook that much as well. The companies, they don't have Facebook pages. Very few you see. If they have Facebook pages, usually they're just stagnant. Like on my first day, I hear that my website could have a Facebook icon on it and a Twitter icon, and then I just create those pages and then just leave it like that.
Sure.
So yeah, so that's kind of the outlook. And barely I've seen businesses on YouTube. Very few. If I see the probably multinational companies or something like that, I don't think people here use a lot of social media, and that could go hand in hand with educational of digital marketing. I don't think people still realize, some people have actually realized the use of digital marketing or social media marketing. And it's all about information, getting the right information and probably the right tools to know that social media actually works. And probably people will be thinking, okay, I'm only targeting Zimbabwe. How many Zimbabweans go on social media and how many buy from online from Facebook? And then you judge it by that and then just leave it like that. And the outreach goes on to be lower then. And like I said, it also has to do with the telecom providers, the tariffs and all that. So if I think that's going to cost me a whole lot, if I'm a personal blogger and I want to promote my business, which I think most individual businesses or personal businesses, small businesses would benefit more on social platforms than bigger businesses, because bigger businesses have other marketing tools like the newspapers, radio, TV. But for smaller businesses, social media would be a very good platform to market on. But they end up also considering the cost factor. So if the Econet or the service provider doesn't have bundles that cover up my LinkedIn, my YouTube, and all that, I'm not going to use them because I think I can't afford them. So at the end of the day, you find people using only those platforms, WhatsApp, or they use Facebook because we have packages that cover that.
Sure.
So it has those two factors in line. People not knowing the impact of social media, and then also the cost factor.
That makes sense. We got a question here. Sarah Musselman asks, how much has social media influenced or replaced cultural and oral traditions that you're seeing?
Okay.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It's a very good question. Thanks, Sarah, for asking.
Very good question. I think somehow 100%, except those who actually don't use, social media at all, because it gives an insight to every other beliefs and cultural. I get to know what you think about this certain topic, and I get to know what the other person on the other planet thinks about the same thing, and then I get to judge, and I get to get all the overviews. I get to argue about it, and so I think I also change to it. I end up dressing up like this because everybody's saying it's trending. I end up treating my parents like doing certain things, eating habits. I think social media has gotten into like the nerves of our ways of living, even to my eating habits or my dressing habits or anything, because everybody on social media is saying this or that, so I'll do it this or that way. Unless you're that strong not to be affected by social media. But I've seen a lot of people who say, oh, social media doesn't affect me, but subconsciously it does something to you. And I think that has affected a whole lot of people on how they conduct their way of life and all that. So it has an impact. It has affected a whole lot of things around.
Yeah, and we want to thank Sarah for asking that. I think you're right. It's going to affect you wherever you're located. If you're especially anytime you're looking on here to see what your friends are doing or how you communicate. Like you said something a few minutes ago about the fact of expressing their political views. Whereas you used to yell at the TV, now they can yell online and let everybody know about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. That's right.
Right. Now, do you see a big divide? So one of the funny things that people love to talk about or see here is like you got friends coming together and the friends aren't communicating. They're all busy looking at their phone versus actually hanging out. Are you starting to see that happen where you're located? Especially the youth, basically?
Happens. It actually happens. It already happens, when you go out to say I'm going out for a social event and it ends up being social event. I don't know. Like instead of eating the food, people are busy taking pictures of the food and not talking about how good it tastes. And the person who's hosting has to go on your Facebook page to check out if their food was okay. And yet you're standing there right there with them, So something like that. It still happens. It still happens a whole lot of times. I don't know how people handle that, but I think sometimes at some events we should have a no phones allowed notice so that people get to, express their views more intimately or in person, because I only get to know that, okay, I was looking nice because somebody posted a photo of me and them posing and say, oh, Momo, nice dress. I'm like, why didn't you tell me when I was there? So it happened like that. And that's the youth, especially. They do that a lot of times. Now the older people
talking behind your back.
Some are getting into it, but some are getting into it, the older people, but most of them, they would actually say no phones on the dinner table, or I don't want to see anybody on their phone, or get off that phone, because they know the impact of, socializing also individually. Sometimes there is no need to be on social media if you're already on a social place or where you're meeting people. So I think there's also misuse of social media to an extent. Especially with the young people.
Yes, the Facebook stalking, the bullying. Are you seeing a little bit of that there in Zimbabwe? Because we see that here happening more and more. People are bullying. Youth are feeling sad because they have no friends. They're too busy reading Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, the different groups, and then, hurting themselves. Are you seeing some of that happening over there?
Yeah, I've seen it, but mostly it has been celebrity bullying, I would say. Yeah, it has to do with people saying bad about probably certain celebrities and all that. When we talk about person-to-person bullying, that's a bit low here. I don't know. It's you barely see that, and and when people do that, you end up having I don't know if that's a good thing, but you end up having a lot of other people supporting you and saying, don't bully this or that, don't do that. And, it's still low, or maybe people still take it personally that you don't have to do social media bullying. So I haven't seen much of it here. I've seen it probably on a few celebrities or a few political figures, and that's where you find it, when they post something and then everybody's on them, attacking them, talking about the past and all that. You've seen it. I've seen it on only politicals. I haven't seen it on individual to individual basis. I don't know about stalking, but I haven't been stalked at least. So
well, I think everybody Facebook stalks. Don't you? Would you agree, Elijah?
I would definitely agree. I will tell you right now that as soon as I meet somebody and they seem interesting, I'm seeing what's out there. It's not necessarily just Facebook. It's the web.
Yeah, like Momo. You mind if I call you Momo because you called yourself that? Maria's talking about how when you have a friend,
what?
You called yourself Momo. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right, I just had to throw that out there, Maureen. I like that. That was great. But the fact is that you get random friend requests. The first thing that we do, and you said you do, how you go see who they are friends with, What are they looking? Are they weirdos? Do you know them? You know, that kind of stuff. See if you identify with them. But don't you think that's a little bit of a catch-22 talking about biases? A little bit?
No, if I'm saying stalking, it couldn't be stalking, and it's not biased because right now I'm not the one sending them a friend request. They are the ones sending me a friend request. So I have to do my evaluation. It's just like when somebody walks to you in the corridor and says, "Can we be friends?" I'm not gonna say yes like that. I'm gonna talk to them a bit, and understand if we get along. I don't want to lie to somebody that, okay, we can be friends as reputations because we are all over each other on social media and all that. So that's the same thing. You do that even like physically when we meet people. You have to get a knowledge a bit of what they're talking about, what they're doing, and then I decide, okay, I think I should hang out with that person. So the same thing. Instead of them talking to me personally saying I want to be your friend, they send me a friend request. And that means they're giving me access to view their profile, because I think now you can lock your profile. If somebody doesn't send your friend request or you don't send the friend request, they can't view your profile. So them sending me a friend request is like, check me out, can we be friends? So I am stalking them. I'm just checking them out and deciding if we can be friends.
Very true. I mean, I think if you really start seeing what people are trying to put out there, either one, you're going to figure out who they really are, or you're going to figure out that type of life that they're trying to put out. And I always think it's really interesting when you meet somebody, you see what the type of personality that they put out on social media, but then when you meet them in real life, like that's not them at all, which is, I think at that point in time, you're like, it's confusing, right?
I totally agree with that. It's not everybody's, that's what they call it, fake book a lot of times. So it's Facebook.
Yeah, right.
Question for you, Maureen.
That's true.
Question for you. What are some things that you're using with social media to help you expand your career since you got out of the university and stuff like that? What are some of the things that you're using or relying on with the different social media platforms to help you get your word out or help you expand your knowledge and go from there?
Pardon me, it was breaking just a bit. I didn't hear that.
So I said, what are some of the things are you doing with social media to help expand your career?
Oh, okay. Well, if you're talking about career-wise, social media has a way of, carrying yourself out. Because I think now some employers go into your Facebook. I think some ask for it on the CVs, or probably if you're applying online, they go out into so how you portray yourself on social media. And, the funny thing about, he was saying that sometimes the person is totally different on social media. And then when you meet them, you're like, oh, okay, are you the person I was talking to? So like that. Now when it comes to career-wise, unless you're doing the job online, you can't lie about it. Because you're going to have to go to the office and you're going to have to portray what you just portrayed on Facebook. And that's pretty difficult. So if you are looking at changing your career, or you're looking at portraying something good in your career, I think you have to post things or portray things of real value that are correct about yourself, so that people know what you think, how you conduct yourself, your ideas. And that's the way of doing things. If I'm to expand my career, I post about things I believe in, things I would like to work on. And when somebody checks out my Facebook page, they should be able to understand that, okay, she's into education a lot, without having to ask me or go through. They have to understand that, okay, if I take her, she's going to concentrate on education mostly in my business. So that's the same thing. If I'm to expand my career, I make my profile such that it portrays what I believe in, what I want to work on, or what I do, basically. And, you end up having 7 jobs because I have 3 saved on Facebook. It's not because you're doing all those kind of things and they don't know about it because you don't talk about it or you don't say anything about it. So I think if we are going to be on career-wise, we can't really lie about it. We have to portray exactly who we are on social media. or how we want things conducted. Otherwise, that's a career killer, because an employer, if they see two sides of you, trust is already broken there. If I trusted that your social media was talking to me and then I figure out that it wasn't, that's a social killer. That's a career killer already. I'm not going to trust you with most of my things because I don't know who exactly you are. Are you social media or are you the real person I'm seeing right now?
What are some of the things that you are using in social media to help you expand your career, though? What's your social media plan? I guess, because we use it for advertising and we use it for connecting with connections, but I always like to hear what people are, what things you're using to help you expand your career, you individually.
Okay, videos, especially on YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel. Okay, a difference in Zimbabwe. Yeah, we don't use YouTube much, but I do. I know the impact of it. So I use videos, YouTube channel, and my website connects to my Facebook and my Twitter account, and I have done it such that every business or every idea that I create a separate page for it so that I don't get things mixed up and I don't get people mixed up, So if I'm talking about education and career, it has its own page. If I'm talking about AVL society, it's on its own. If I'm talking about helping for the better good, it's on its own. And basically, I talk about, of course, I may interconnect it and refer people to read more on other pages, but I don't want to get it mixed up, so I have it all separate. So you post videos and experiences and real life stories on what you are talking about and real life experiences. Like I was saying, probably that's where it comes, where I was saying that sometimes you don't have to post anything if you haven't experienced it. So that comes to that. Sometimes it just has to be realistic. Doesn't matter how bad it is or how good it is. Sometimes it's good to be just realistic on what's happening. So I use it also for advertising and getting platforms like here where I am right now, Saving Social. I saw it through Next Gen Summits, because I went to Facebook and read about Next Gen Summit. I was like, I want to participate in this, and then I end up. So like that. I also use it for researching, because I think it is a good platform to do your research, because if you find things are too absurd, it's different there and different there and different there, you end up putting wanting to know better or wanting to do more research on something. So I use my social media platforms on especially research, participating in events like this, being a part of a certain group of people that I think are going to help me out and are going to expand me and all that. So that's how I expand my career. So far, I haven't used it much for advertising a lot, because I'm more of the one trying to get the word out that we should do this so that this happens and all that. So rather, if you say advertising information or educational information, yeah, that works.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How do you think that's going to change over the next year or two? Do you see changes taking place pretty rapidly over there?
I think so. I believe so, actually, because whenever you take a step towards doing something differently, for example, right now, like the last speaker was talking about something I didn't know about, and I had to take notes. So I'm gonna do that differently, because I think post-mortem, do it right there. It wasn't that good, so I think you should go with what's there right now. So that's gonna help me and make a difference on how I was probably conducting my post or how I was giving out information and all that. So in a year or two, I think it would have expanded, and probably I would have shared the knowledge, because right now you guys asking me about how people use social media here. I've seen already the opportunity that people need to be educated about using social media and all that. So that's another step towards knowing better or learning something new. And if I continue at this rate, we're going to talk about it again next year.
That's the truth. Things are always changing. That's true. It's just good to see they're changing for the better in different areas. And not just here, but everywhere, which is great to hear. That's always a good thing there for. Got any questions for Maureen? Any more? Christy? Elijah? No, we're good. Maureen, it's been great having you, dear. It's been phenomenal. You got any other final thoughts for people, or any other final comments? Like, what's your YouTube channel? You got any channels or any social media stuff that we can help promote for you? Put it in the comments for people to follow you.
Okay, I have AVL Society, and then I have studyabroad.com, and well, my personal Facebook page, and also I have YouTube. My channel is it says Maureen Monjoro, but it has my email ID momonjoro@gmail.com. That's my YouTube channel, and I also do have some books on Amazon Kindle that I've written. So people, for those who are on Kindle Publisher, they can get it for free, I suppose. And well,
what are the name of those books? What are the name of those books? You got to slow down a little bit. Whoa, slow down. What are some of the name of the books on Kindle? You're right. Come on, let's put this to work for you, dear.
Okay, the other one is called Missing Piece. I think once you find that, the one called Missing Piece. Yeah, a father needed. It's called Missing Piece, a father needed. Once you find that one out, I think you find the rest of them, because they are all under the same name.
Okay. All right. Are they under your name, or are you writing from somebody else with a fake name?
It's my name.
It's your name. Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. Good stuff. We'll make sure to share those in the live stream feed there for you.
That's also, and they can also try and find me on all poetry. I have some couple of poems that I've written. Even if you go through my, don't look at me like that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. It's good stuff. It's good to be diverse. It's great to get stuff out there.
People say that I do a whole lot of things, so I'm trying to limit to what I do, maybe. But I enjoy it because I don't wanna be idle. So if I'm bored with writing, I'll go to do poetry. If I'm bored with poetry, I'll go to YouTube and all that. So it helps me out.
Keeps the creative juices flowing, as we like to say. That's good stuff.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, Maureen, we want to say thank you again for joining us here. It's been an honor to have you. I know that you can jump back on your video there. Unmute yourself.
You.
Oh, I have to
turn
unmute.
My video off.
Hang on here. You're unmuted.
Well, yeah, I unmuted my volume.
There you go.
I can hear you, Christy.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, no, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. Like, this has been great to listen to the topic about bias and really kind of dive deep into it about how we use social media, and to just learn more about you and what you're doing. So I'm very happy that we got connected through Next Gen, and I hope we can keep talking and collaborating.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you guys for having me. It was great. Okay, bye.
Up next, we have Omer Hazar, and he is in New Zealand. So he just emailed me where he confirmed. So we're going to be talking about what is influencer marketing and why you definitely should care about boutique influencers. And I think that's a really big topic right now. Just trying to figure out, influencer marketing is big. More and more people are putting more money into having other people promote for them, because it is kind of a word of mouth type of deal. So how do you do that and make sure you also monetize it and track it? Because there's a lot of influencer fraud going on.
Mm-hmm. That is the truth. When we unplug your headset here so people can hear us all talk. All right, so let's see here. Change your mic. Your mic. There you go. To your webcam.
This?
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
So people can hear us now. Elijah can throw in there too.
Right? Like the red
I guess he could talk. You can chime in at any point in time.
Good.
What do you think about influencer marketing?
I think, well, I think influencer marketing is incredibly important, but I also think that there's a lot of different ways that influencer marketing can be achieved. And I think that's also through, like, I think as businesses, we can do a lot of almost like micro influencers just through our community, you know. I think it can also be considered cross promotion between brands. I think that's kind of, you're looking at the same exact type of concept. You know, you have brands that have influential individuals at the helm of each of those companies that are driving the vision. And, you know, I think when brands get together and they start working and doing that cross promotion, I mean, that falls right into the influencer marketing as well.
Awesome. Looks like Omar's joining us here, so let's get him logged back in.
Let's get that.
Cool. Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sweet. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. You know, it's around 2 a.m. and we're going strong. So we got 24 hours left to go.
Good luck. Good
It's
luck.
kind of exciting. We're packed full of snacks. We got a nice little spot around here. So I'm pretty sure somebody will be sleeping on the floor at some point.
Got coffee for the rest of the night?
Yes, there's a coffee station. Thankfully, I will be taking by the time we get done. But
It's only about 10 feet away, so it's
yeah, which is also dangerous. So I'll be double fisting with 2 coffees and.
Yeah.